Okay, I'm Raynell Hooten. I'm with the Rancho Bernardo Historical Society, and I'm doing oral interviews for the society. And today we are at the home of Joyce Gage in Rancho Bernardo. Joyce is a longtime resident of Rancho Bernardo and has an interesting history in that her father was one of the first residents of Rancho Bernardo.
Bought the third house.
Bought the third house. At any rate, so Joyce, you lived here 24 years. Did
Correct.
you come here because your father was here?
Actually, I did. I fell in love with it, and when I came out here, we were retiring, and I just thought that was the prettiest place, the friendliest place, and I came here immediately. I could, no place else. Didn't even look.
Joyce, you worked for one of the banks in Rancho Bernardo for many years.
Yes,
When
I
you
did.
came here, did you start working right away, or did you?
No, I worked there before I went back to Illinois and got married, and then came back here and didn't work until, well, I haven't worked here at all for a salary. But before that, yes, I worked here as a single woman.
Oh, and what bank was it?
The First National Bank of San Diego, and then there was one other one, Escondido National Bank.
Oh,
Changed
okay.
its name later, but those were the two. And I was in banking for 26 years, so it was kind of coming back to it.
Yeah. Now, when you retired, is that when you became involved with this historical society?
Yes, I came out here alone. I was married again, and his job was keeping him back in Illinois. So I waited 2 years, bought the house, did the whole thing myself, painted to the, came out and made a home so that when he retired, he was able to come out here. And he was very happy. The yard looked so gorgeous. The pictures I have, but
And this is the home you bought?
that's correct. Yeah. So we have been in this house literally for 24 years. And he does not live here anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, now I know that you have several talents. One of them is an artist. And have you done that all your life?
I've done that all my life, yes. Really, all my life. And love it. Oil painting, that's my baby.
Okay, because you made the contribution with the tile paintings
Oh, I
for
did.
the.
There's a whole bunch of them up there ready to go. There's all my pens. And that's fun. And that tells a story.
Of Rancho Bernardo.
Sure.
Now, in going to the history of Rancho Bernardo, not only have you been here, but your father was here. Tell us some things about him and his influence and contributions to Rancho Bernardo as a really early community.
Right. Being so new to the community, he was an outdoorsman, and he loved to look at animals, collect animals, and you're all going to cringe here. He was a snake man. He loved collecting snakes. And this area where he lived down on Santiago, the third house was a model home. So he moved in, and from his front door, he could look out on these hills, which were strictly, well, they had
Yeah.
nothing on them except snakes. His happiness came from marching up the hills that I now live on and collecting any kind of non-poisonous snakes. When he did pick up a poisonous one, he felt he was doing the area a good thing, which probably was true. He would bring it home and destroy it. And the other ones, the ones that he brought home that were non-poisonous, he drove up, let's see, it would be back behind us, the hills that we now see over there with the water tank.
Yeah.
He went up there with maybe 2 cartons of snakes just wondering where the heck are we going, but he was taking them back to a safer place because otherwise they would be killed right and left down here.
And he also was a columnist for the Bernardo brandings.
Oh gosh, he loved his columns on fishing. He had a friend that owned a boat, a big cruiser-like boat for fishing, and he would take the neighbors, anybody he met, somebody in a grocery store that said they loved to fish, okay, and he would take maybe 12 people out, and it came from, of course, down in San Diego, and they'd.
But you would categorize him as one of the original movers and shakers in Rancho
He
Bernardo.
made things happen in San Diego.
No, in Rancho Bernardo.
In Rancho Bernardo, yes. His name was Rex Freeman, and I think a lot of people knew him. And it wasn't out of pride or, anything that he felt. It was doing something new because he had worked in Chicago, New York, Seattle, and this was new space. And he was happy.
Yeah. Now, your involvement with the Historical Society, were you one of the founding members?
Yes, I think when we started, we had 12 members, and 5 of us were on the board of directors. So I'd say we were on the first board of directors. I would not say I was one of the first 12 people. But it was fun to form directors and see whether we could then get people to come in, which we did gradually.
Yeah,
It
but
was great.
You didn't have a
Home.
a home or
Oh. We had
a proper space.
Tiny Long, and she's long gone. Tiny and her husband had a beautiful home overlooking the golf course, which now is a golf course, and she opened her home up to all of us that were interested in the Historical Society. She became the president, and from then on, we grew. That's when it moved, and we exploded, and everybody wanted to join. So I would say within a year or two, we had 20, 25, and then.
So were you involved in collecting artifacts and histories?
Absolutely. Anything we could find. And the original place to find any little treasures that we could use either from the Indians or from any other source that we had in people. It was like a room that they were selling furniture and everything, but in the back they gave us space which was about the size of this room, and they gave us a table, and they said put anything out here to either sell or show people. Well, we still have the table at the Historical Society.
Oh, really?
With the mirror or the window over it, and we are still showing things, some of them even from then. And it was great because people got to see artifacts that they said, you found this where? So we had a lot of donations too.
But you did find things, maybe Arco, or
Oh.
when they were digging for foundations, they probably found a
All
lot of
kinds
stuff.
of beautiful things. We found gold. There was gold.
Really?
Gold little strips inside. Yes, we had a great time finding something and then inspecting it and taking it to a pro who would then either say no, nothing, or whoa, not bad.
Wow. And then, of course, these things are still at the museum.
I believe they still are. Now it seems like we're up into the showing pictures. Everything is a picture. It's all under glass, but that's fine. We don't have the actual.
Yep. In other words, someone could come in and pick it up and touch
Right.
it.
And we probably have it in the back room of what's now the Historical Society. We have shelf after shelf of great things. You couldn't put it all out. You couldn't get in the room if you did.
Wow.
So we had fun.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that.
Oh, I'd take you back there and we'll do that sometime.
So tell me about your art. I know you've done the tiles. Do you have artwork in other places in Rancho Bernardo?
No, I have not shown anything here. Back in Illinois, yes, I had enough things on display in different places where people had beautiful old homes then, and I did pencil work on the homes. And I got a goodly sum of money for what took, 18 hours? Boom! And they loved to see their house in pencil. For some reason, it gave them the feeling of antique.
It's a
Elder.
rendering.
Right. I have many around here. No,
Well, I think they're in the other room.
it could be,
Yeah.
but I did loads of them. But out here, no.
But you have recorded some of the historical buildings and things in Rancho
Oh
Bernardo.
yes, Tom Cook made sure that I got that done. And when Tom Cook makes sure, he's standing over you, and it was great. I love him to pieces, but he wanted that done. I'm looking at the two behind me. That is not,
there they are.
but
yeah.
it was like that. It was a pencil drawing of the original. Actually, we didn't have an original historical society. If you've ever seen that tube that we were in with the little building next to it, I did not draw that.
But we do have a picture of it.
Oh, many. Yes, but I did enjoy that back in Illinois.
But the tiles that we have, you painted some of the places in Rancho Bernardo that have a
yes,
historical.
I have lots of pictures of the tiles. I took them because I thought, well, what the heck, they're going out on a building, on the side of the building. The wall someday is going to come down. I mean, it's silly to think that'll always be there. So I'll take the pictures while they're there.
Yeah.
And the kids too.
Are you still actively painting?
Oh yeah. When the spirit moves. I reached the age where the spirit doesn't always move very fast.
Well, that's true.
Really slow.
We know. We understand.
Yes, but it is fun to draw and to paint. And I'm grateful I've been able to do something to put outside for people to see. If they enjoy that, that's better than anything.
Now, you have two daughters.
Yes.
They both live in the area.
Kim lives over by the golf course. And yes, she and her husband are very active. They were both executives at the city of Poway. That's where they met. Didn't marry until 10 years ago, but are very, very happy. And then my youngest is living over by the coast next to UCSD, where she and her mate, he is a doctor, I don't know what he is, a PhD, etc. And he does muscle and leg work for people that are runners, young people in the college, university, and everybody honors him for the work he has done. They got home yesterday from Liverpool, England.
Wow.
And I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, but now, did they go to school here?
No,
or
actually,
they were all
they
in
were
Illinois?
both, Kim graduated in California at UC, and then Cynthia came down here, and there is not a 4-year school, a 2-year school, and she graduated from that. They never had children by any situation there, so they are very free. They're in their late 50s, early 60s, and they look to be about 40. And I think, what did you do? How did you do that? 35 to 40 is
Yeah. But they have memories of Rancho Bernardo in the beginning.
Oh, they had memories when we came out to visit my mom and dad, and they loved it. So I was out here with my then husband, and we had this home. Everything was fixed up differently. And they came out and fell in love with it and said, this is where we're going to be when we retire. Well, they both have retired. and their mates. So they are now out here and happy.
What are some of your fondest memories of early Rancho Bernardo?
Oh, I think it's because so many people knew everybody else. It was so family-oriented by us each being a part of the family. Not so many little kids. There were no babies running around. It was, let's get together and have a party for so-and-so. And we would. And then we'd go to the inn, which was at first being built and then finished. It was lovely to have a formal group get together as neighbors. It was something we didn't have in the Middle West.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it became a very social place to live.
Very. Everybody was retired. We had time.
And talents, too.
Oh, everybody brought something. Oh, sure. And there were some darn good golfers. Remember that.
But don't you think that contributed to the success?
Absolutely. No question about it. Everybody gave something that they could do to the group, to the association, whatever they could handle down at the center where the swimming pool and everything is. I think people would come down there with something and say, would you do anything with this? And one of the workers there would say, yes. And that's why they were getting rid of some extra stuff. And we all profited by it because we can look at it.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
So you watched a lot of these houses being built.
Oh my goodness, yes. I came out here about 10 years after my folks moved in, and I couldn't believe it, but they hadn't come up here yet. They were just about ready to cut into this hill. And as you remember, the hills went like this, and they had to cut up, up, up. So you can see that our hill goes down.
Great view.
And then goes down further. That goes up over there. And of course that in turn made a beautiful view for everybody, but it is sheer hell in a fire.
Mm.
Our wildfires blow us away. So I was very active in that for the 2 fires.
Yeah, I knew you were. So what else have you done in your retirement? After you quit working at the bank, or?
Right. I joined the Historical Society, and Neighborhood Watch was just a real baby to me. That was fun, to get neighbors to know somebody else. And then I was in, of course, Fire Safe Council, and then I also went over to the school in Westwood, and just had a ball for 22 years as a tutor for 2nd and 3rd graders. That was more fun than I can tell you. That was...
So all those kids are grown now, huh?
Not only grown, but once in a while I get chills. I'm getting a chill right now. They will write their teacher and say, please give our love to Miss Joyce.
Oh.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah, no, that's neat.
It's neat, yeah.
So you've done a lot of volunteer work.
A lot. And didn't do any work for pay, but it's been a better result than anything.
You say that that's one of the reasons that Rancho Bernardo as a community was successful, because so many people volunteered and got involved.
Wouldn't have gone anywhere if there were people that just put themselves inside the house, closed the door, turned the shades down. You would not have had Rancho Bernardo as it is, or maybe at all. But when everybody opened their shades, opened their doors, we got to know our street by first names, always.
Yeah.
And we'd have parties, and boy, have we had some parties lately.
Well, I understand the liquor store was one of the first retail establishments over by Safeway.
Well, yeah, that was
food and drink.
No, and that was the thing, I didn't drink. But during the day now, we have 2 new neighbors, and they love to entertain. And I do not know how we ever got along without them, because they bring joy to everybody. That's a
That's
gift
neat.
in itself.
Yeah.
So we're grateful.
So what else would you like to tell us? What haven't I asked you? I see you have papers there.
Here, I was just looking back over the people that I've worked with in the Historical Society, and so many of them are gone. And I look and I think, oh, that's the way of life. But I will always remember them. My memories of people I met, they were older, remember. The people in this club were different than anybody in Neighborhood Watch, where you had to be young and very agile. I could never keep up with them. And so these people were my dear friends. And in passing, I look at these pictures and I think, I put them away. I don't want to go back and look at them again. But of the ones I just happened to write down that are still here, Flo Logston is a dear friend, and she is being watched by her daughter. And then Tiny Long passed, Kathy Serpis. These are all women who had presidencies in all of these clubs. Tom Cook is here, bless his heart. And, the Rossies are here.
Yeah.
And then Ruth Beers passed, and Barbara Billiter, and Kathy Serpis, I mentioned her. But it was these people made early Rancho Bernardo, not so much, but basically this part of Seven Oaks.
Yeah.
They became the leaders.
And of course the Symphony on the Green was,
was that great?
a legend in itself.
Oh, boy.
Did you work on that?
I didn't work on it. They just happened to have some of my favorite performers. And I know I was at the last one, and I did not know it was going to be the last one. They kept that under. But it was directly below Tiny Long's home. Tiny Long was the first Historical Society president, and her house was up on the hill, so you could sit up there and listen to the music coming off the stage. It was fantastic. Best thing we could have done to bring the community together early.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work so much now.
Well, maybe not, but
Well,
I think people enjoy being able to, especially the talent that came here.
the talent was great, but I keep thinking to myself, or kicking myself really, thinking, the entertainment was for people our age 23 years ago and longer, because they started before I even got here. And those people may or may not be able to get down if they gave that concert, but there wouldn't be more than 50 or 60.
You know,
We'd start counting in our heads.
we'd have to have rock stars.
That's one thing I wouldn't go to. That will be one of the. I'm gonna miss that. I watched them dancing today, and instead of dancing with someone, oh God forbid, you wouldn't touch anybody else. You're gonna dance by yourself. So they get the good exercise. They're in good shape. Not for anything like we had.
But you're still somewhat involved with the Historical Society because
Yes.
you help with the tiles.
And mostly the tiles. Tom is a great guy to work with. And together we have been doing this for so many years that anytime he says, here's a picture of that old vehicle that they used, the red, it was like a coach, but
Yeah.
very, very, well, just difficult to look at. And he said, can you paint it? And I thought, okay, we'll give it a shot. And when he gets excited, Tom is not excitable. When he gets excited, I thought he looked at it and was excited.
Well, that was a
Yeah,
true
so
compliment.
it's now up there on the wall. And it's good fun for me to do it. It's good fun for me to see it, because then somebody else will be seeing it too.
And appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you in all that you've contributed
Oh, I just love being here.
to the museum and the character of Rancho Bernardo with it's people like you that made it what it is today. And
I think I'm the luckiest person in the world because I was an only child. And, you know, growing up like that, you can get lonely. Army base to army base, all over the shack and back. You never got to know a good friend. So this was my childhood, coming out here when I was 60-something, and saying, I've met my friends. They're like sisters. And I really love that.
well, we'll put you on the Chamber of Commerce to advertise the community.
Come on, Arby.
Oh, and one more question. Were you ever on the councils that were here? Community council? Or?
Not the community council. No, I have not been on the city or area council at all. To me, I do think I'm better off being in the smaller units where I knew everybody and there was nothing that could problematically be irritating where someone would start an argument. I wouldn't be good in that one.
Well, you've been a wonderful contribution, and
Aw.
we really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
this will be the end of the interview, and then I will ask these people what I forgot to ask, and maybe we'll start up again.
Sure, you bet. Thank you.